Kairos. It's an ancient Greek concept that is fairly dynamic and doesn't really have a static meaning, but instead has one that can change a bit. It's kind of like a "I'll know it when I see it" type thing, and despite this, it is often defined as the right or opportune moment in text. It looks directly at the qualitative term rather than quantitative, and in this video we'll be looking at its use in the novel The Elegance of the Hedgehog and its significance within contemporary culture and society. We'll talk more about its use in the novel later, but for now we'll just focus on the latter. Now, though Kairos hasn't been as widely used throughout history compared to other concepts, it is still significant and important to contemporary culture and society, and this significance is often credited to an American scholar by the name of James L. Knievy, who is a pretty strong advocate of it. In his essay Kairos in Classical and Modern Rhetorical Theory, he firmly states that rhetoric and culture desperately needs the notion of Kairos. Throughout the essay, he just pushes the idea that Kairos is a significant force within culture. An example of that can just be found on the 5th page of it, where he states, "Kairos brings timeless ideas down into human situations, and thus imposes values on ideas and forces humans to make decisions about the values." Here, Knievy tells us that the concept of Kairos adds more value and meaning towards the interactions between individuals and culture by integrating timeless ideas into those interactions, and thus adds to the value of contemporary culture. And when he talks about how it forces humans to make decisions, he shows us that Kairos is one of those driving forces behind how and why we make decisions as people within a society. And El Hanti expands on Knievy's ideas in her own essay, where she takes a look at more of its cultural significance. On the first page of her essay, she takes a look at 2 Bible verses and then states that the Greek Kairos can change the meaning of them. It shows that Kairos has a prominent ability to affect the meanings of cultural texts and change the ways cultures are perceived, and basically just outlines the massive significance Kairos has within cultures. In the novel, Kairos is mentioned multiple times by Paloma within her profound thoughts and entries to her Journal of the Movement of the World number 2 and 3, and it just adds to the character development of Paloma, a 12-year-old girl who is planning to kill herself. Looking at how it's used in Journal of the Movement number 2, it's just as a brief, emotionless definition of it, and there really isn't all that much of a connection between Kairos and Paloma. But in Journal of the Movement number 3, things kind of change, and here we just see that Paloma kind of has a bit of an emotional connection with the concept, and that's just evident by how upset she gets when people fail to capture moments of Kairos. Paloma also uses Kairos in her final profound thought, and here we just see that the idea of Kairos, to an extent, now plays a role in her life, and it really just helps show an arc of going from a pretty pessimistic person to someone who looks for moments of always within a never, someone who looks for moments of Kairos. And Muriel Barbary, the author of the book, really did an outstanding job implementing this into the novel.